next speaker, Willem. Willem van den Reek is coming from the Netherlands and is going to present the Citizen project.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to leave the winter cold at home and come to your very beautiful country. My name is Willem van den Reek. I'm a product developer at Alliander. My main focus is on congestion management and selling tariffs on the grid. I'm here to present the Citizen project. It's a virtual power plant project in which we try to enable local trade and use of electricity and demand response in complete virtual PV integration. First of all, let me introduce Alliander. Alliander is the largest DSO grid operator in the Netherlands. We maintain roughly 90,000 kilometers of cables. Most of our grid is cabled. And we maintain also a gas network. And our shareholders are completely government. First, let me introduce what our challenge is. At the moment, as many grid operators, we're confronted with a lot of PV integration in the grid. So we're shifting from our centralized system to a more decentralized system. And next to this, Netherlands is very the grid. The heating of houses is done by gas, and at this moment, we make the shift to heat pumps. So we also have a large peak from this in the winter, especially. And also, we have to integrate the electric cars, which are picking up quite fast. So, and our main focus was always to reinforce the cables, but because we have a very densely populated country, it's very slow and cumbersome to do this, especially because everything is also cabled and underground. So we have two business cases actually here to tackle, and that's why we're focusing on smart grids. First is extending the grid life of our current grid, so to keep everything cost effective. But also to be able to keep up with change, because the energy transition is going much faster than we as a DSO can pick up with. So that's why we joined this European project, Smart Grid, the Smart Grid project. It's called Citizen, and Citizen is a bigger project. It's part of it is being done in France, part of it is being done in the Netherlands. But in Amsterdam, there's a big demo site on which we try to demonstrate a virtual power plant and also vehicle-to-grid services. The smart grid in the Netherlands is currently the largest smart grid in the Netherlands. It consists of about 10,000 dwellings, and our goal is to reduce the peak load by at least 20%, but also allowing our customers to enter the market. We try to do this in real-life demos, in which we try to show what we learned from other practices and try to demonstrate in real life with real customers. This makes it and by doing so, we can show the effects of decentralized energy supply on existing grid situation, and to determine if we as a DSO see value in this methodology for grid stabilization. So, but first of all, I think it's important to know that, possibly it's clear to everyone, but in Netherlands and in most of Europe, there's a big, the power companies are unbundled from the grid operators. So as a grid operator, we have to rely on market parties to acquire our service that we need to our service or grid. The same holds for the TSO, for balancing, also this should all be done via market parties. For market parties, the grid is a copper plate. They can trade on the market as if they want, without seeing restrictions on the grid. So, what is a virtual power plant in our case? In Citizen, the virtual power plant consists of a gathering of homes in which have home storage installed, at least 50 in this case. So have PV solar, which is also being controlled. We are now integrating also vehicle to grid, but still separate project, really focusing on the technical side of allowing vehicle to grid services. And as a future, we're also looking into investing into a residential battery. And it's all being supported by smart metering in the grid and at home. And in the meantime, what we try to achieve here is that all these technical solutions can be controlled as a group to be able to charge and discharge at centrally, based on a forecast of weather and consumption forecasts. So for us, the virtual power plant has 3 use cases. First of all is to allow our customers to use local sustainable energy, so to lower the CO2 footprint and make use of the energy themselves as much as possible. The battery allows them to do this because, of course, it shifts the moment of usage. Another one that we're focusing on is opening the energy market for our customers, because we think it's important that if you have flexibility service, that DSO is not the only party that's profiting from this. It's very important to make the maximum use of what we have as a resource. And this means for customers that they can trade among each other, peer-to-peer. This is done via the Extra Energy Exchange platform. But also to sell their flexibility and sources to the national energy market to make a better, to get more money out of their investments in the battery. And the last use grid, is especially where we as Alliander, as a DSO, are interested in, is support if this can be used also to support the local grid. Because, as I explained, we have to deal with market parties to make sure that everything is still reliable. And we focus here on congestion in the grid and on voltage issues, especially which are being risen by the PV integration. So these are the main lessons that we're learning, but we're also focusing on other things, more the softer side, because it's very technical and very economically driven, but we're also focusing on why people join this, because we cannot force people to join. So first we try to look at why people were not willing to join, so why they refused. And the first reason was simple. Amsterdam West is a very expensive area. Homes are very small, and we asked them, can we put a battery system in your home? So most people refused due to the lack of space. Another one is that most people don't want to be bothered. Energy should be an easy, accessible item, and they don't want to be bothered on a daily basis. So servicing those people we noticed was very important. So we tried to put a lot of effort in servicing those people and picking them up. And then we also looked at why did some people did join. First of all was excitement. Many people are environmentally minded, so this gives them opportunity to do something, which was very attractive to them, and also because it's a very innovative project. So for them it was nice to join such a thing. But the second thing we learned is that it was also what gave more ground for them to join was that it was a local collective. It was important for them to be part of a group. Peer pressure, community feeling was a very important aspect for people who were willing to join. So that's some of the lessons we will take further when we try to upscale this in the near future. So if we look at the future, and what we did in this project is how to upscale. And we noticed that aggregation is a very important part of this, because of course, you have many small sources of flexibility. It needs to be upscaled, and this needs to be done via market party, because as a DSO, we cannot be part of this. So that's why we introduced the aggregator role in the system. And the aggregator's role is to unlock, as a broker, the flexibility between the end user, in this case, it could be the DSO, it could be an energy company, or it could be the TSO for services, and between the prosumer who is offering the flexibility. And why we think it's important to add such an aggregator is not only for aggregation, technical aggregation, but also because they can specialize in certain services. For instance, you can have an aggregator really focusing on PV integration or in home heating. And they also can make more creative offers to the end customer that we cannot. For instance, in other parts of the Netherlands, we have such a party was offering window cleaning services in exchange for allowing 10 times a year to shift the heating of the home by only 1 degree. And in this case, and as a return, he can sell this flexibility to these parties as mentioned to the right. So as a DSO, we really believe that creating a system that allows other parties to make use of these assets is more economically efficient for us as a DSO, but also to the prosumer, and will help us in upscaling this in a larger scale. So, but to be able to do this, we also had to invest in our grid. Especially our lower grids are not well measured. We are currently installing smart metering at home, but even the lower substations are not well measured. There's not much data coming on, at least not in real time. We measure this in an interval basis. So in this smart grid, we had to invest a lot. And this gives us the opportunity to help our customers decide, our customers, so the local connections, deciding what to do with their electricity, what to do with their battery. It helps market parties, because we had to make forecasts. We also share with market parties to make better assumptions on the energy market, to make sure better sell and buy decisions for their customers. And it gave us also the opportunity to get real life information in our control room. So if something happens, we are immediately aware of it. We can immediately inform our local customers where the outage is, how long it will take. And we even managed to reduce the time frame it took to find the fault from 2 hours to only 15 minutes. But because we also installed flexible assets, we're also able to shift better able to shift the flow around the fault. But for asset management, but because we're also an asset management company, we also found out it's very effective for us, because due to this information and to use it in a proper way, we were able to to give more effective grid investments, because we now better know what's happening in our grid and where to invest. But we also are able now to optimize our maintenance based on conditions, on historical conditions, instead of just in timely intervals, which is much more effective. So it's not only investing in a power plant, it really helps us to do better asset management. And of course, it helps us to reduce the network disruption time. So what were the key messages that we took away from this still ongoing issue of a demonstration project? Is that the future of a DSO is really data-driven. And that furthermore, it's important to have a common understanding and goal with the end user to create social acceptance, especially if we want to upscale. And in any case, that flexibility via market parties and not only investing as a TSO or only is much more effective and important factor if we want to create more diversity in the products that are being given to our prosumers and the products we get in return. That was my presentation.